golden time, from unforgettable gadgets and trends to the iconic moments that defined a generation. Sit back, relax, and let's journey back in time together.
Let's dive into 14 1980s restaurants that should make a comeback.
As I put on my daily attire, I got my button flies out of the dryer. Next thing you know, I'm a wealthy man of means. I found $10 in the pocket of my jeans.
When you've got something to celebrate, come to Bennigan's Blarney Blast, a celebration of St. Patrick's Day that's not just one day, but a whole month of great food, amazing drinks, even a chance to win a trip to Ireland. It's a whole month to celebrate whatever you want.
Bennigan's was the ultimate Irish-American pub where you could enjoy a friendly, laid-back vibe along with hearty dishes. With its legendary Monte Cristo sandwich and signature drinks, Bennigan's had a charm that kept patrons coming back for more. The cozy booths and neighborhood feel made it a staple of the 80s dining scene, and it would fit perfectly into today's casual dining revival.
This is your executive section.
Executive section.
This is your welcoming gift.
Welcoming gift.
This is your newly decorated room.
This is Howard Johnson.
This is Howard Johnson today.
Known for its signature orange roof and classic American fare, Howard Johnson's was a roadside icon throughout the 80s. Whether you stopped in for a clam roll or one of their 28 famous ice cream flavors, the comforting and reliable menu made Howard Johnson's a favorite for family road trips. In today's age of fast food chains, a return to Hojo's home-cooked meals would be a welcome blast from the past.
Good news today at the Ground Round.
You get a whole lot more at the Ground Round. You get a whole lot more.
What's the good news?
USDA Choice Top Sirloin Steak, just $3.99.
That's good news.
And new golden fried clams, also $3.99.
More good news.
Try our baked lemon butter scrod, just $3.99.
That is good news.
Steak, clam, scrod, just $3.99 each at participating Ground Rounds.
At the Ground Round, you get a whole lot more.
The Ground Round was all about fun for the whole family. From buckets of free peanuts to popcorn and a menu full of affordable burgers, it was a place where kids could run wild while parents enjoyed a relaxing meal. The relaxed atmosphere, paired with a pay-what-you-weigh promotion for kids, made it a hit in the 80s. With nostalgic dining experiences making a comeback, the Ground Round would definitely find its place today.
Remember when the quarter went a long way? These days, it doesn't even go a short way.
Dad, haven't you heard of inflation?
Here you go, sport. You must need this more than I do.
At Sambo's, a quarter still goes a long way. Every time an adult has dinner at Sambo's, a little adult also gets a meal. The Sam Burger Jr., a delicious double burger for just 25 cents.
Hey, Dad, I'll pay my own way tonight.
Sambo's, we're bringing down the high price of bringing up your kids.
While Sambo's faced controversy in its later years, the restaurant chain was a big hit in the 70s and 80s. Known for its all-day breakfast and unique menu, Sambo's also offered a family-friendly environment with charming decor. A revamped version of Sambo's, one that honors its classic menu while embracing more inclusive branding, could be a nostalgic treat for those who remember it fondly.
I remember back when my father took us out to eat, and did we look forward to it. Steak, potatoes, salad. Father used to call it a square meal. Well, now I'm a grandfather, and I still go out for a square meal. The Ponderosa, for steak, baked potato, salad, and old-fashioned square deal prices. Right, kids?
Right on, Gramps.
Right on.
Square deal at Ponderosa.
Ponderosa Steakhouse was known for its affordable steaks, endless salad bar, and all-you-can-eat buffets. The Western-themed dining experience was casual and family-oriented, giving diners a hearty meal without breaking the bank. With the current rise in popularity of buffet-style restaurants and steakhouses, a modern version of Ponderosa could easily find a place in today's dining scene.
With our new celebration sampler, there's a dozen ways to celebrate.
12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Chi-Chi's Celebration Sampler. You get a chimichanga, taco, enchilada, plus 7-piece dessert plate. At $7.99, it's worth celebrating.
Chi-Chi's celebration of food.
Chi-Chi's was synonymous with Mexican dining in the 80s, serving up sizzling fajitas, taco platters, and their famous fried ice cream. It was the place for festive celebrations, with vibrant decor and a lively atmosphere. In a world where Tex-Mex is still going strong, Chi-Chi's colorful, party-style dining could make a glorious comeback with a fresh twist.
When Deanne had her 8th birthday party at Farrell's, even the Beasley brothers had fun. When Jake the Snake had his birthday at Farrell's, the whole group wanted to come. In fact, there's only one place so crazy, so totally wacko, that everybody has a party. Farrell's. Because whether you're 6 or 14 or right in between, you always have a party at Farrell's.
Farrell's was a family favorite that combined whimsical decor with oversized ice cream creations. The parlor's famous Zoo Sundae, which came out to fanfare with drums and sirens, was a crowd pleaser. In today's Instagram-obsessed food culture, Farrell's over-the-top desserts and fun ambiance would be a perfect fit for those seeking a nostalgic yet photo-worthy experience.
Steak and Ale welcomes you back to the Old Country Inn.
Come sup with us at Steak and Ale, where hearty dining abounds.
This takes me back to the old days, a place to relax and enjoy a good hearty meal, like this Kensington Club.
The Kensington Club is a sirloin steak, marinated to taste. Lovingly grilled for just the right time, it even compares with our ribs in their prime.
Come join us. It'll be like old times.
Come sup with us at Steak and Ale.
Steak and Ale had an air of casual elegance, offering juicy steaks, fresh salads, and their iconic honey wheat bread. The cozy, dimly lit atmosphere was perfect for a date night or a special family dinner. With farm-to-table dining and steakhouses regaining popularity, Steak and Ale could find its way back, offering that vintage fine dining feel with a modern twist.
I bet that pizza tastes good.
You've never seen a place like Showbiz Pizza Place. We'll serve you a pizza second to none. So come for pizza, stay for the fun.
Showbiz Pizza Place with over 60 electronic games, pizza baked fresh every day, and a stage show extravaganza on 3 stages.
So come for pizza, stay for the fun.
Before Chuck E. Cheese took over, there was Showbiz Pizza Place, a beloved entertainment restaurant where families could eat pizza while enjoying animatronic performances by the Rockafire Explosion Band. It was an 80s kid's dream spot, full of games and cheesy, delicious pizza. Given today's demand for retro entertainment experiences, Showbiz Pizza could easily return with updated technology while keeping its quirky charm intact.
You know why I come to Lum's, good buddy? They grill the steaks just perfect. And the fish fried dinner is so tender and delicious. I love the juicy roast beef sandwich piled high with that thinly sliced roast beef. I like it when Mommy and Daddy take me to Lum's. The burgers are great. You and your kids get a better choice when you choose Lum's.
You get a choice, you get a better choice when you choose Lum's.
Lum's was famous for its hot dogs steamed in beer, a unique offering that kept patrons coming back for more. With its diner-like ambiance and hearty menu, Lum's represented the spirit of classic American dining. A modern Lum's, with a focus on craft beers and gourmet hot dogs, could easily thrive in today's dining scene.
Do you really think this is the right thing for us to be doing, Ivana?
What will people think?
Let them talk.
Donald.
Ivana. It's wrong, isn't it?
But it feels so right.
Then it's a deal?
Yes, we eat our pizza the wrong way.
Crust first.
Introducing stuffed crust pizza from Pizza Hut. With a ring of cheese baked into a totally new, thinner crust, you'll want to eat it the wrong way. Crust first.
May I have the last slice?
Actually, you're only entitled to half.
Large, just $9.99.
While Pizza Hut still exists today, the classic dine-in experience from the 80s is a thing of the past. The iconic red-roofed buildings, salad bars, arcade games, and dim lighting created a nostalgic atmosphere that made dining out at Pizza Hut special. Bringing back that classic experience with retro decor and dine-in service would be a hit among those who long for the original Pizza Hut vibes.
Hello, Rex.
Hello, baby.
It's for you again.
You know what I like.
A roast beef, of course, mushrooms and sauce, a tastiest Swiss, a melting down on the toasted bun. You're alive, bun. I'm hungry for you now.
The new mushroom melt from Rax. At Rax, we know what you like.
Who's gonna pay for this?
Rax Roast Beef was a fast food chain with a more upscale twist. Known for its roast beef sandwiches, baked potatoes, and salad bar, Rax had a unique mix of menu items that catered to both fast food lovers and those looking for healthier options. In today's world of fast casual dining, a Rax comeback could appeal to those craving nostalgic fast food with a fresh, modern update.
Looking for a great lunch at a great price? Well, York has lots of them.
At York Steakhouse, we serve the best in food and quality.
At York Steakhouse, we've got delicious honey-glazed roast chicken, a variety of specialty chef salads, delicate baked fillet of fish, and tender, juicy luncheon steaks.
You'll get a lot more food for a lot less than you thought the price would be.
Come to York and get a lot more lunch for a lot less money.
York Steakhouse.
Krangle concedes. Details at 11.
York Steakhouse was a cafeteria-style steakhouse that offered quality food at an affordable price. Guests would walk down the line, selecting their steaks, sides, and desserts before sitting down in the medieval-themed dining area. With the rise of nostalgic, no-frills dining experiences, York Steakhouse's simple yet satisfying concept could make a successful return.
You know why I like the Magic Pan? It's my kind of place and my kind of food. Steak, my old favorite. But tonight, I feel like veal. For the lady?
Chicken tarragon.
And some Chardonnay. Magic. And the price? That's the best trick of all.
Now at the Magic Pan, prime rib. Taste the magic.
The Magic Pan was a creperie that gained popularity in the 70s and 80s, serving up sweet and savory crepes in a refined yet accessible setting. With its open kitchen and stylish decor, the Magic Pan was an upscale option for those seeking something different. Today, with crepes gaining popularity as a trendy, versatile dish, the Magic Pan's vintage charm and unique menu would make it a perfect addition to modern dining culture. The 1980s was a golden era for creative, themed, and family-friendly dining. While many of these restaurants have faded into history, they hold a special place in the hearts of those who grew up in the era. With the current rise of retro and nostalgic trends, it wouldn't be surprising to see some of these iconic eateries make a comeback, bringing their beloved menus and unforgettable atmospheres back to life for a new generation to enjoy.
The 1980s, a time of big hair, bold fashion, and some truly memorable cars, but not always for the right reasons. We're talking about cars so bad they're almost good. Well, almost. Today we'll look at the 10 worst cars of the 80s that flopped so hard no one wants to remember them, but we're going to anyway.
One winner, 42 losers. I eat losers for breakfast. Stay focused. Speed. Faster than fast, quicker than quick. I am lightning.
Introducing the all-new Reliant Robin, a staple in British speed. Comfort and safety.
Let's start with the Reliant Robin. This quirky three-wheeler was an oddball from the get-go. On the surface, it looked like a cute, tiny car, but looks can be deceiving. The problem with the Robin was that it loved tipping over. A sharp turn, a slight bump, and over it would go. It was made of lightweight fiberglass, which was great for fuel efficiency, but terrible for safety. If you remember the famous Top Gear episode where Jeremy Clarkson flipped it over and over, you'll understand just how wobbly this car was. But despite its flaws, the Reliant Robin still has a special place in car history because, well, it was unique.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a good time.
Next up, the Aston Martin Lagonda. This car was supposed to be the height of luxury in the 1980s, with a sleek design and futuristic features like a digital dashboard. But underneath that fancy exterior was a mess. The electronics were unreliable, the fuel consumption was terrible, and the price was sky high. It was a car for the rich, but even they got tired of all the trips to the repair shop. The Lagonda is a lesson in how even the fanciest designs can fall flat if they don't work properly.
Introducing the new Yugo, a paramount engineering achievement from Yugoslavia. From busy traffic to rough terrain, Yugo will lead you anywhere. From the west to east coast, Yugo defeats the competitors. Reliability is his second name. Dependability and safety now have a totally new meaning. Do not hold your horses. Your dream of a tough, dependable car can finally be fulfilled. Buy yourself some freedom. Buy a Yugo. Yugo, more freedom for less money.
Then there's the Yugo GV, which might just be the worst car of the 80s. Built in Yugoslavia, this little hatchback was cheap, but you got what you paid for. The Yugo was notorious for breaking down all the time. Its build quality was poor, with engines that often stalled and electrical systems that barely worked. People made a lot of jokes about the Yugo, like saying the best way to double its value was to fill up the gas tank. It's a car that's remembered not because it was good, but because it was so bad.
The new Subaru Brat has sleek, aerodynamic lines.
Just tell 'em it's good looking.
Front and on-demand four-wheel drive.
Say it can climb.
A Halo twin roof.
It's a window.
And it's engineered to withstand the elements.
That means it's tough.
The new Subaru Brat. Inexpensive and built to stay that way.
Just tell 'em it saves you money, buster.
Now let's talk about the Subaru Brat. This small pickup truck came with 2 rear-facing seats in the bed. Plastic seats bolted down with nothing much to hold on to. These seats were only there to avoid higher taxes on trucks, but they weren't safe or practical. The Brat tried to be both a truck and a car, but didn't do either very well. Still, it managed to hang around for a while, though most people just couldn't see the appeal.
Pontiac Fiero GT.
Want to see something really exciting?
Fiero GT, now with the authority of a fuel-injected V6. Fiero. You got it, Pontiac.
The Pontiac Fiero was another car that promised a lot, but delivered little. It had a cool mid-engine design and plastic body panels that looked futuristic, but its performance was weak. The engine was underpowered, and there were even reports of the car catching fire. The Fiero was a sports car in name, but not in reality. It's an example of how even a good idea can go wrong if it's not executed properly.
If you want this much room, as well as a smooth and stable ride, and really believe you'll only get it in a bigger car, you're in for a pleasant surprise. Because now you can get that room and ride in the first wide small car, the AMC Pacer. That may explain why more than half the people buying the Pacer are trading in bigger cars for it. They've discovered they didn't need most of their big car anyway.
Remember the AMC Pacer? This car was designed in the 1970s but lingered into the 1980s. It had a wide, bubble-like body that made it stand out, but not in a good way. The engine wasn't fuel efficient and the car was heavy, which made it slow and clumsy to drive. The Pacer aimed to be different, but sometimes different just means bad. Still, it became a cult classic, especially after appearing in movies like Wayne's World. The Komuta car, also known as the city car, was an electric car that was ahead of its time, but not in a good way. With a top speed of 28 miles per hour and a range of only 35 miles, it was more like a glorified golf cart than a real car. It was built with good intentions, aiming to be eco-friendly, but it wasn't practical for most people. The tiny design was unsafe, and the car just didn't catch on. It's a reminder that not every idea works out, no matter how good it seems.
Here at Le Planche School of Motoring is very tough life for cars. So, we are choosing the Citroën Visa hatchback. Of course, with its 1100 engine slower, Citroën Visa is very, very nippy on traffic. Stop and comfortable in a wide range of road conditions. With only one major service a year. Not forgetting the powerful disc brakes. I said not forgetting the powerful. Also is specially protected against rust.
Across the pond, the Citroën Visa was supposed to be the next big thing in European compact cars, but with its odd design and lackluster performance, it quickly became a disappointment. Even a redesign in 1981 couldn't save it. The Visa tried to be innovative, but sometimes innovation isn't enough if the basics aren't there. It's a car that's mostly forgotten today, except by those who remember its quirks.
It's here, Cadillac Cimarron 84. This one's got the touch. Clean, crisp, fun to drive. With a feel for the road and that Cadillac touch. Everywhere you look, this one's got the touch.
The touch.
Cimarron.
Best of all, it's a Cadillac.
The Cadillac Cimarron is a lesson in how not to manage a brand. Cadillac, known for luxury, tried to enter the small car market with the Cimarron, but it was basically just a dressed-up Chevrolet Cavalier. People quickly realized they were paying Cadillac prices for a cheap car, and the Cimarron became a joke. It's a reminder that a badge doesn't make a car great.
The DeLorean. Gull-wing doors rise effortlessly, beckoning you inside. The sleek, stainless steel DeLorean. Beautifully crafted for long life, the DeLorean is one of the most awaited automobiles in automotive history. Drive the DeLorean. Live the dream today.
Finally, we have the DeLorean DMC-12. This car is famous for its role in Back to the Future, but in reality, it wasn't all that great. The stainless steel body and gull-wing doors looked amazing, but the car itself was underpowered and had a lot of quality issues. It was heavy and hard to drive, and the company's financial troubles didn't help, but thanks to its movie fame, the DeLorean became an icon, even if it wasn't a great car. Let's take a nostalgic trip back in time to explore the top 12 futuristic gadgets from the 1970s that had every kid excited.
What does your family do on those stay indoors rainy afternoons? Or on those cold, blustery winter days? Families who are content to let television do its thing often find themselves at its mercy for a choice of entertainment, while people who want television to do their thing entertain themselves with Odyssey, the electronic game of the future, and the family's best foul-weather friend.
Released in 1972, the Magnavox Odyssey was a true game changer. Literally, as the first ever home video game console, it opened up a whole new world of interactive entertainment for kids. While its graphics were primitive by today's standards, the idea of playing video games at home instead of at an arcade was revolutionary. Kids could control their on-screen characters using the Odyssey's two simple controllers, sparking the birth of home gaming.
You're mine.
Simon! Let's do it. The fun is in the challenge, Simon. Take the Simon Challenge, Simon. The Simon Challenge. You gotta repeat the patterns of colored lights and sounds. The longer you play, the more challenging the pattern gets. The winner's the one who keeps it going the longest. If you miss, you get the razz and your history.
Oh, yeah!
The fun is in the challenge, Simon. Take the Simon Challenge, Simon.
In In 1978, the world was introduced to Simon, the electronic memory game that became an instant hit. Simon's colorful lights and tones gave off a futuristic vibe, challenging kids to follow increasingly complex patterns. Its sleek, circular design and glowing buttons made it feel like a gadget straight out of a sci-fi movie. Whether you were competing with friends or playing solo, Simon's addictive gameplay left kids mesmerized.
When you can see a picture developing before your eyes, blooming in minutes into a photograph as real as life itself, it makes you eager to grab hold of the world. Almost effortlessly, the SX-70 slips through life, searching out, recording. Press the button, and it is. It's as simple as that. Polaroid's SX-70 land camera.
Before smartphones made instant photos a part of everyday life, there was the Polaroid SX-70. This futuristic camera, launched in 1972, allowed kids and adults to snap a picture and watch it develop before their eyes. No more waiting to get photos printed. Within minutes, they had a fully developed image in hand. For kids, it felt like magic. Polaroids became a must-have for capturing fun moments, turning photography into a thrilling experience.
Enemy jets ahead. Bombs everywhere. Citizen needs rescue.
RoboCop's gotta wake up Rexor. He's crouching when he wakes up. RoboCop's hurt. Do Cyberlab for repair.
RoboCop, reporting for duty.
Cyberlab computer says emergency alarm. Quick, go. We saved it. Yeah! New life, new arms, new program. Awesome.
RoboCop Cyberlab comes with all this. Other figures and vehicles sold separately. Batteries not included.
In the mid-1970s, kids were fascinated with robots thanks to shows like Lost in Space and the $6 Million Man. Alpha One was an affordable, battery-powered robot toy that brought these futuristic companions into their homes. With the ability to walk, light up, and even carry small objects, Alpha One felt like a glimpse into a world where robots would become everyday helpers, something every kid dreamed about.
Where's Merlin? Where did it go?
Jenny's got it playing tic-tac-toe.
Now where's Merlin?
When last seen it was out with Dad playing blackjack 13.
Where's Merlin now?
It's not there, it's out with Billy playing Magic Square.
Merlin is a computer with personality. Plays 6 different games, talks with 20 sounds. 6 pen-light batteries not included.
Where's Merlin now? Better come clean.
In the kitchen with Mom playing Music Machine.
Merlin from Parker Brothers.
Merlin, released in 1978, was a handheld game console that looked like a sleek red telephone, but was packed with futuristic tech. It offered 6 different games, including tic-tac-toe, memory, and even a basic music-making function. Its LED display and buttons gave kids the feeling of holding advanced technology in their hands. Merlin became one of the most popular electronic toys of the decade, blending entertainment and tech in one device.
It's Big Track, the computer-activated tracker and the automatic transporter. Your child sends Big Track off on a mission by programming in up to 16 commands. Like fire 3 laser blasts. Big Track stores your child's commands to get out of a tricky spot. To complete the mission, Big Track rolls in, drops the payload, then heads for home base in another assignment. Big Track for your child from NB Electronics, transporter sold separately.
The Big Track, released in 1979, was a programmable electronic vehicle that allowed kids to input simple commands for it to follow. You could program it to move forward, backward, turn, and even fire its rear-mounted laser. This was a big deal at the time, as it gave children their first taste of what programming could do. The Big Track sparked curiosity about computers and robotics, making it feel like a cutting-edge gadget.
Once a child wants to spell, the spell is cast. Speak and Spell from Texas Instruments.
That is correct.
With snap-in modules with hundreds more words for growing minds.
You are right.
Speak and Spell, part of a family of products for richer tomorrows from the Learning Center of Texas Instruments. Because a child's tomorrow is never just...
Introduced in 1978, the Speak and Spell was an educational toy that used a speech synthesizer to help kids learn spelling. It felt futuristic because it talked. Speak and Spell would prompt kids to spell words, and its robotic voice gave instant feedback. For many kids, this was their first interaction with a machine that seemed to think and talk, turning learning into a high-tech game.
Maybe someday all watches will be made like the Seiko digital alarm chronograph. It shows time and day, date and month, converts into a stopwatch, and even has an alarm. Maybe someday all watches will be slim and incredibly accurate, like the new Seiko ultra-thin digital quartz for men and women. Today they're made by Seiko. Maybe someday all watches will be made this way.
Available at Corbo Jewelers in 7 stores throughout New Jersey.
In the mid-70s, LED digital watches became all the rage. Instead of the traditional clock face, these watches used glowing red or green numbers to tell the time. With their sleek, futuristic designs and high-tech feel, LED watches made kids feel like secret agents or space explorers. Brands like Pulsar and Hamilton led the charge, and wearing one of these watches instantly made you one of the coolest kids on the block.
Presenting Pocketeers. Great new pocket-sized games, like Fruit Machine and Grand Prix. Take Pocketeers everywhere. A pocket full of fun. New from Palatoy.
Tomy Pocket games were small, handheld mechanical games that felt high-tech despite their simplicity. They didn't require batteries and used clever designs with marbles, levers, and springs to create fun challenges. These portable games were perfect for road trips or passing the time, and their compact size made them feel like pocket-sized gadgets from the future. Whether it was basketball, pinball, or racing games, Tomy Pocket games gave kids a tech-savvy way to play anywhere.
Do you often find yourself without friends? Well, we have the product for you. Pet Rocks are the hottest new toys and they're flying off the shelves. Pet Rocks are great to take on walks. If you ever need a shoulder to cry on, your Pet Rock is there for you. Pet Rocks are the all-around best friend. Get yours today! Only $19.99 plus shipping and handling. Pet Rock's not available in US or Canada.
Okay, so maybe it wasn't exactly high-tech, but the Pet Rock, which became a massive fad in 1975, certainly captured the imagination of the time. It was marketed as a low-maintenance, futuristic pet that didn't need feeding, walking, or care. Just companionship. Packaged in a little box with air holes, kids took the joke seriously, and the Pet Rock craze became a quirky symbol of the era's love for novelty and simplicity.
This GAF Viewmaster is a lot of fun. What do you think?
It's really interesting. The three-dimensional color pictures are extraordinary. I find these how to play football reels very instructional. I always considered the GAF Viewmaster an ingenious invention of great educational value.
Gee, I always thought it was just a lot of fun.
While the Viewmaster originally debuted in the 1930s, it reached new levels of popularity in the 1970s thanks to its updated reels featuring scenes from Star Trek, Star Wars, and other popular franchises. By simply inserting a reel and looking through the binocular-style device, kids could immerse themselves in 3D scenes from their favorite movies and shows. It was like a mini virtual reality experience long before VR was even a concept.
4 electric sizzler cars at the start of the Fat Track California 500 circuit, tanked up and raring to go. Pow! They're off. From now on, anything can happen. Action fills the track. A lap computer keeps you in touch with the leaders. You decide when to make a pit stop, charge up with the juice machine, and you're back in the race. With the Fat Track California 500, it's a winner. From the Hot Wheels people, Mattel.
In 1970, Hot Wheels took its popular toy cars to the next level with the introduction of Sizzlers, battery-powered racers that could zoom around their tracks at blazing speeds. Unlike traditional Hot Wheels cars, these had a small electric motor and a rechargeable battery, making them seem incredibly advanced for the time. Kids loved the thrill of watching their Sizzlers race through loops and curves, and charging them up felt like preparing for a futuristic race. The 1970s were a thrilling time for kids who grew up dreaming of a tech-driven future. These gadgets, whether educational, playful, or just plain fun, inspired wonder and curiosity about the world of tomorrow. Although many of them seem quaint by today's standards, they laid the groundwork for the high-tech world we now live in. For the kids of the 70s, these gadgets weren't just toys. They were a glimpse into a future they couldn't wait to be part of. Let's take a trip down memory lane to explore 11 1980s trends we can never bring back. If there's one thing the 1980s will always be remembered for, it's big, voluminous hair. From teased bangs to sky-high perms, achieving gravity-defying locks was the goal. The secret weapon, tons of hairspray, especially Aquanet, which became a household name. But with environmental concerns over aerosol products and a shift to more natural hairstyles, we've gladly left these hair-raising trends behind. The 80s were all about making bold statements, and nothing was bolder than neon fashion. From electric green leggings to blindingly bright pink workout gear, neon was everywhere. While a few neon accents might sneak into modern outfits, the head-to-toe glow stick look is a trend we'll never fully resurrect. Thank goodness for that. Our eyes needed the break. Parachute pants were the ultimate in 1980s streetwear, especially for breakdancers and hip-hop enthusiasts. Made from nylon with lots of zippers and designed for movement, they quickly became a fashion phenomenon. As fun and practical as they were for a dance battle, their baggy, shiny look feels way too extreme by today's standards. Let's leave these in the past where they belong. Although fanny packs have made a fashion comeback recently, the 80s version was a far cry from today's sleeker designs. Bulky, brightly colored, and often paired with mismatched outfits, the original fanny packs weren't exactly stylish. Their unflattering and awkward placement around the waist made them a regrettable fashion statement. While today's versions are more refined, the original 80s fanny pack is best left forgotten. Remember those colorful plastic sandals that were all the rage in the 80s? Jelly shoes came in every shade imaginable and were a must-have for kids and teens alike. The problem? They were hot, sweaty, and offered zero arch support. Plus, they made your feet smell terrible in the summer. While they might trigger some nostalgia, jelly shoes will stay in the history books, far away from our wardrobes. The power suit with massive shoulder pads was the ultimate symbol of 80s corporate chic, especially for women entering the workforce. The oversized shoulders were meant to convey authority and strength, but looking back, they seem more cartoonish than powerful. While a well-tailored blazer is timeless, we're happy to leave exaggerated shoulder pads in the 80s boardroom. The 80s were the decade of the mustache, with stars like Tom Selleck and Burt Reynolds making it the ultimate masculine accessory. The thick, bushy stash was everywhere, from TV screens to high school yearbooks. But as facial hair trends have evolved, the classic 80s mustache has become more of a relic of the past. We won't be seeing that thick-lipped caterpillar make a full comeback anytime soon. Long before Netflix and streaming, there were VHS tapes. While we all have fond memories of renting movies from the video store or recording TV shows on these bulky cassettes, the technology has aged poorly. The tapes were prone to wear and tear, and rewinding them before returning to the store was always a hassle. We'll take modern streaming over VHS any day. In the 80s, bumper stickers were a way of life. Whether they showcased your favorite band, political opinion, or humorous one-liner, everyone seemed to have a sticker, or 5, on their car. While bumper stickers are still around, they don't dominate car culture like they did in the 80s. Nowadays, people prefer more subtle ways of expressing themselves without covering their cars in adhesive philosophy. The 1980s were the golden era of cassette tapes and boomboxes. Whether you were recording songs off the radio or making a mixtape for your crush, cassettes were essential. Paired with a giant boombox on your shoulder, they represented the pinnacle of cool. But with their tendency to unravel, the hassle of rewinding, and the superior sound quality of modern devices, we've thankfully moved on from cassette tapes and boomboxes. The 1980s were a decade of daring fashion, cutting edge, for the time tech, and trends that shaped a generation.
The 1970s were a time of rapid industrialization and technological advancement. But with that came many jobs that, by today's standards, would be considered downright dangerous. Without the safety regulations and modern equipment we have now, many workers in the 1970s faced significant risks on the job. Over time, as technology evolved and safety standards improved, these hazardous occupations either disappeared or were drastically transformed. Let's take a look at 10 risky jobs from the 1970s that disappeared over time. In the 1970s, asbestos was widely used in construction for its fire-resistant properties, and thousands of workers were employed in asbestos mining and processing. Unfortunately, the risks of asbestos exposure, such as lung cancer and mesothelioma, were not fully understood until later. With the eventual banning of asbestos in many countries, asbestos mining became obsolete, and the industry all but disappeared. Before digital switchboards and automated systems, telephone operators manually connected calls by plugging cables into the right circuits. These jobs required long hours of repetitive motion and focus, with workers facing risks like muscle strain, eye fatigue, and even carpal tunnel syndrome. Automation in the telecommunications industry eliminated the need for these operators, making the job disappear by the 1980s. Long before modern refrigerators became household staples, ice delivery was a common and physically demanding job. Ice delivery workers hauled massive blocks of ice, often in dangerous conditions, including slippery roads and cold environments. By the 1970s, electric refrigeration had become widespread, and the demand for home-delivered ice gradually faded, taking this risky job with it. Coal mining has always been a dangerous job, but in the 1970s, miners faced even greater risks due to insufficient safety regulations. From cave-ins to black lung disease caused by inhaling coal dust, miners worked in treacherous conditions. Today, stricter regulations and advancements in mining technology have improved conditions, but many coal mines have closed, and fewer people work in this hazardous field. The golden age of Hollywood action films in the 1970s meant there was high demand for stunt performers. However, the safety gear and precautions we see today were not always in place back then. Stuntmen frequently performed death-defying acts with minimal protection, leading to numerous injuries and even fatalities. As the industry became more regulated and special effects technology improved, many of the riskier stunts have been replaced by safer alternatives. In the 1970s, long-distance truck drivers were often pushed to the limit, driving for extended hours without the strict regulations that exist today. Fatigue, poor road conditions, and unreliable vehicles made this a perilous job. Over time, stricter laws governing driving hours and better highway infrastructure have reduced many of the risks, but the grueling nature of trucking in the 70s is a thing of the past. Working as a high-voltage lineman in the 1970s involved maintaining power lines at extreme heights, often in severe weather conditions. Without the advanced safety equipment and protocols of today, linemen face the constant risk of electrocution, falls, and other life-threatening accidents. While the job still exists, modern technology has made it far safer than it was in the 1970s. Before desktop publishing, typesetting was done manually, and the job came with a surprising number of risks. Workers in printing shops were exposed to toxic chemicals like lead, as well as repetitive motion injuries from assembling type by hand. The shift to digital printing technology made typesetting safer, and the manual typesetter role vanished almost entirely by the 1980s. Building the towering skyscrapers of the 1970s meant that steel workers had to work hundreds of feet above the ground, balancing on narrow beams with little more than a hard hat for protection. Falls, burns, and heavy machinery accidents were common, and many workers faced serious injuries. Over the decades, advancements in safety harnesses and regulations have made construction work safer, but the death-defying steelwork of the 1970s is a thing of the past. Logging in the 1970s was an incredibly dangerous job. Workers wielded heavy manual chainsaws to cut down massive trees, often in remote areas without immediate medical help. Falling trees, equipment malfunctions, and difficult terrain contributed to a high rate of serious injuries and fatalities. With the introduction of modern machinery and stricter safety protocols, logging has become less perilous, though it remains physically demanding. The 1970s brought with it many jobs that were physically demanding, risky, and often deadly. As time has progressed, technological advancements and improved safety standards have eliminated or transformed these hazardous occupations, making the workplace a much safer environment for modern workers. While these jobs may have been essential at the time, it's a relief to know that the dangers faced by workers in these fields are largely behind us.
Ever wondered what people ate to get through the tough times of the Great Depression? They had to make do with very few ingredients, but they managed to create meals that were filling and satisfying. Let's explore some of these resourceful dishes that helped people survive those difficult years. First up is the Depression-era stew. This wasn't your typical beef stew, it was more like a throw whatever you have into the pot dish. Potatoes, carrots, onions, maybe some barley if you had it, and meat, only if you were lucky enough to have some. This stew is a great way to use up leftovers and clean out your fridge today, and you might just discover a new favorite comfort food. Now let's talk about the famous garbage plate, a dish that might make you raise an eyebrow at the name, but it was a lifesaver back in the day. Imagine a plate piled high with macaroni salad, home fries, baked beans, and maybe some sausage or ground beef. Top it off with chili, onions, mustard, hot sauce, or ketchup. It sounds odd, but this Rochester, New York specialty was a go-to meal when budgets were tight. It had all the carbs and fats you needed to keep going. Cold milk soup might surprise you, but it was a quick and easy staple during the Depression. This simple dish was made with milk, sliced bananas, sugar, and sometimes bread or other fruits. It might not seem like much, but it was a way for families to get the calories and nutrients they needed when fresh ingredients were hard to come by. Plus, it was perfect for hot summer days when you didn't want to turn on the stove. Then there's prune pudding, which might not sound exciting, but it was a hit during the Depression. Prunes were cheap, stored well, and were used in many dishes. Even Eleanor Roosevelt served prune pudding at the White House to promote frugal eating. The prunes were cooked until soft, mashed, and mixed with water, sugar, and flour or cornstarch to thicken. It might not be the prettiest dessert, but it got the job done. During the Great Depression, the government came up with Milcorno, a kitchen miracle made from cornmeal and dried milk powder. This was a cheap and nutritious substitute for more expensive foods. Families could stretch their meals with Milcorno, using it to thicken soups, make cornbread, or even as porridge. While it's not something you see today, it was a lifesaver back then. Peanut butter and mayo sandwiches might sound strange, but they were a popular choice during the Depression. Before PB&J became the go-to sandwich, people combined creamy peanut butter with tangy mayo for a unique flavor combination that was cheap and filling. If you're feeling adventurous, give it a try. You might just find a new favorite. Bean and tomato stew was another Depression-era comfort food. Beans were a staple because they were nutritious, cheap, and versatile. This stew combined beans with tomato broth and sometimes potatoes, carrots, or rice. It was a simple but hearty meal that could be eaten on its own or with bread, rice, or mashed potatoes. Sometimes simple was best. Tomato sauce with mashed potatoes doesn't sound gourmet, but it was a popular dish during the Depression. Potatoes were filling and cheap, and the tomato sauce added some much needed flavor. This dish could be easily adapted depending on what you had on hand, and was a comforting meal for many families. Mock apple pie is a genius creation from the Depression era. When apples were scarce, people made do with what they had. Ritz crackers. The crackers were used as a crust, and the filling was made from sugar, cinnamon, and water, mimicking the taste of real apple pie. It was a clever way to satisfy a sweet tooth without spending much. Spaghetti with boiled carrots and white sauce was another dish that made the most of simple ingredients. Promoted by Eleanor Roosevelt, this dish was easy to make and fed a family without breaking the bank. The creamy sauce made from milk, flour, and butter added a touch of richness to the meal. One of the more unusual dishes from the Depression era was the peanut butter stuffed baked onion. A whole onion was hollowed out, filled with peanut butter, and baked until the onion was sweet and caramelized. It might sound strange, but the combination of sweet onion and salty peanut butter was a clever way to create a filling meal from simple ingredients. During tough times, people got creative with what they had. Vinegar cobbler is one example, a dessert made with flour, sugar, butter, and fruit vinegar when fresh fruit was hard to come by. The vinegar mimicked the tartness of apples or lemons, creating a dessert that was surprisingly tasty despite its humble ingredients. Finally, let's not forget about Hoover stew, named after President Herbert Hoover, who was often blamed for the Great Depression. This simple stew was made with hot dogs, macaroni, canned tomatoes, and whatever vegetables were available. It was a one-pot meal that was cheap, filling, and easy to make, perfect for families trying to stretch their food budget. These Depression-era recipes might seem odd or simple today, but they were a testament to the resilience and creativity of people who had to make do with what little they had. Trying out these dishes can give us a taste of history and remind us of the resourcefulness that helped so many survive tough times. The 1950s sure knew how to throw a good party, and you can recreate that retro vibe today. Tie your apron and get ready to whip up some classic recipes to take your guests back to the fabulous 50s. Hello Jell-O, the Jell-O craze peaked in the 1950s. These colorful, wiggly creations were a staple at potlucks, family gatherings, and holiday dinners. Classic Jell-O salads combined flavored gelatin with fruits, vegetables, nuts, or even cottage cheese. Lime Jell-O salad often included pineapple chunks, shredded carrots, and marshmallows. Strawberry pretzel salad layered a salty pretzel crust, sweetened cream cheese, and strawberry Jell-O with sliced strawberries. Ambrosia combined fruity flavors like orange or lemon Jell-O with fruit cocktail, coconut, and marshmallows. There were also savory versions like Perfection Salad, mixing lemon or lime Jell-O with shredded cabbage, carrots, and celery. Deviled eggs were a classic hit at 1950s gatherings. Hard-boiled eggs were halved, and their yolks were mashed with mayonnaise, mustard, vinegar, salt, and pepper. Paprika, chopped chives, pickles, crumbled bacon, or curry powder added extra flavor. These creamy, savory bites were easy to make in large batches, perfect for pleasing a crowd. Welsh rarebit, a comfort food favorite, features toasted bread topped with a savory cheese sauce made from cheddar, butter, milk, mustard, Worcestershire sauce, and cayenne pepper, topped with extras like crispy bacon, sliced tomatoes, fresh herbs, or paprika. This dish is perfect for breakfast, brunch, lunch, or dinner. Shrimp cocktails were the epitome of class at upscale gatherings. Chilled shrimp nestled in tangy cocktail sauce, usually made from ketchup, horseradish, Worcestershire sauce, lemon juice, and hot sauce, added a touch of elegance. The presentation, often in crystal clear glasses, was key to impressing guests. Baked Alaska, a showy dessert from the 50s, featured layers of sponge cake, ice cream, and meringue. The meringue insulated the ice cream from the oven's heat. Often flambéed for a dramatic presentation, it was a show-stopping end to any dinner party. Finger sandwiches were essential for 1950s parties. Soft bread slices, often crustless, were filled with chicken salad, egg salad, or cucumbers with herbed cream cheese. Creative fillings included smoked salmon and dill cream cheese, pimento cheese, or hummus and roasted veggies. Cut into neat triangles or rectangles, these sandwiches were perfect for mingling. Bundt cakes, known for their unique ring shape, were popularized in the 1950s. Flavors like vanilla, chocolate, lemon, and marble, often filled with nuts, dried fruits, or cream cheese, made these cakes versatile for any occasion. A drizzle of glaze or a dusting of powdered sugar enhanced their presentation. Meatballs were a hit at 50s parties. Swedish meatballs made with ground beef and pork were simmered in creamy gravy. Sweet and sour meatballs featured a tangy sauce, while porcupine meatballs mixed with rice had a fun, unique look. Croquettes, crispy and flavorful, consisted of mashed potatoes, minced meat, seafood, vegetables, or cheese, shaped, coated in breadcrumbs, and fried. Popular worldwide, variations included Spanish croquetas, Japanese korokke, and Dutch bitterballen. Stuffed dishes like peppers, mushrooms, and tomatoes added an element of surprise. Bell peppers filled with ground meat and rice, mushrooms stuffed with breadcrumbs and cheese, and tomatoes filled with tuna or chicken salad were party favorites. Stuffed cabbage rolls and zucchini boats were also popular. Which of these dishes will you be serving at your 1950s party? Share your favorites in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks for watching. Ready for a blast from the past? Join us as we journey back to the 80s to rediscover 20 iconic items that were once essentials but have now become nostalgic relics. Let's dive in and relive the memories. Back in 1979, Sony introduced the Walkman, a small portable cassette player that changed how we listened to music. Whether on a long bus ride or a jog in the park, the Walkman made it possible to take your favorite tunes anywhere. Many of us fondly remember making mixtapes for our crushes and the satisfying click of inserting a cassette. Today, we carry thousands of songs on our smartphones, but some argue we've lost a bit of the charm that came with the Walkman. Waterbeds were all the rage in the 80s, promising a unique sleeping experience. At their peak, they accounted for about 20% of the mattress market in the US. They were especially popular, offering customizable firmness and even heating options. However, they were heavy, prone to leaks, and required specialized maintenance. As new mattress technologies emerged, waterbeds fell out of favor. Today, they're more of a novelty, a quirky reminder of the 1980s home decor. Before the internet, phone books were essential for finding contact information. These hefty tomes, filled with residential and business listings, were a common sight in every home. Let your fingers do the walking was a popular phrase because of them. With the rise of the internet and smartphones, phone books have become obsolete, replaced by the convenience of digital searches. In American schools, trapper keepers were the ultimate status symbol. These colorful, Velcro-closed binders could hold numerous folders and came in various eye-catching designs. They helped students stay organized and express their individuality. However, as digital devices became more prevalent in classrooms, the need for trapper keepers to color items still exists. Their cultural significance has waned. The 1980s saw VHS tapes and VCRs dominate home entertainment. VCRs allowed us to record TV shows and watch movies at home. Renting movies from video stores became a beloved weekend activity. The iconic Be Kind Rewind stickers remind us of those times. As DVDs, Blu-rays, and streaming services emerged, VHS tapes and VCRs became obsolete. Today, we stream movies with a click, but some miss the tactile joy of handling VHS tapes. Video rental stores were the Netflix of their day. Getting a membership card was a rite of passage. Browsing the aisles for the perfect movie and hoping your top choice was still available was part of the fun. These stores also served as social hubs. With the rise of online streaming, video rental stores have mostly disappeared, taking with them the unique experience of physical movie browsing. Before USB drives and cloud storage, floppy disks were the primary means of transferring and storing data. The most common 3.5-inch floppy could hold a whopping 1.44 megabytes. Early computers relied on these disks for programs, images, and documents. As file sizes grew and CDs emerged, floppy disks became obsolete. Today, we save data digitally, but there's something nostalgic about holding a physical disc.
Dad, I want a pager. A Motorola?
Really? What's in it for me?
Dad, you want me? If I'm ever late, page me. See, we can make this connection. You know? I mean, I'm never gonna take it to school. I'll respond like that, and Dad, your pages come first.
You would do that for me? Would you do something else for me? Shave.
Motorola pagers to know now.
Put on a clean shirt.
Motorola, what you never thought possible.
Before cell phones, pagers were the go-to for quick communication. These small devices beeped to alert you to call a number. They were especially popular among doctors and emergency personnel. Pagers even developed their own shorthand language. As cell phones became more widespread, pagers declined in use. While we now rely on smartphones, pagers were a crucial step in the evolution of mobile communication.
paper goes face down. You will push 6 to get your outside line. Then you will dial your number. 1, area code, access code. Let's see. Finish the number. Push start. It will go through.
Fax machines were indispensable in the 80s and 90s for sending documents quickly over long distances. The sound of a fax machine in action was a common office noise. Faxes revolutionized business communication, allowing for immediate transfer of orders, contracts, and more. As email and digital document exchanges became popular, fax machines became less common. However, some industries still use them for legal or security reasons. OT matrix printers were known for their ability to print multiple parts of a form simultaneously. Businesses loved them for creating continuous forms like reports and invoices. The perforated edges of the paper were a hallmark of dot matrix printing. As laser and inkjet printers became more affordable and offered better quality, dot matrix printers fell out of favor. Today we have high-resolution color printers, but there's something nostalgic about the chunky text of a dot matrix printout.
Because you get an arousal and then a relaxation response. It's the same as a roller coaster or gambling or playing cards intensely.
Many teenagers are frank in admitting their dependency.
Well, it's the moving lights partly. Some of these games are really hard to do. It just takes a lot of skill.
Pac-Man.
I like the little man. He's really neat. He eats up all the other things, you know.
In the 1980s, arcades were the ultimate entertainment spots for kids and teens. The sights, sounds, and even smells of an arcade left a lasting impression. Games like Street Fighter, Pac-Man, and Space Invaders were popular. Arcades also served as social hubs where rivalries and friendships were formed. As home gaming consoles advanced, arcades began to decline. While vintage arcades still exist, the communal experience of a bustling arcade is hard to replicate.
You know what it is? You know what it does?
Before cell phones, payphones were crucial for staying in touch when away from home. They were a common sight on street corners and in public spaces. Finding a payphone in an emergency was always a relief. As cell phones became more popular, payphones started to disappear. Today they're rare, often seen as novelties or historical curiosities.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
MTV launched in 1981 and revolutionized how we consumed music. With music videos on 24/7, it turned songs into visual experiences and artists into cultural icons. Who could forget the premiere of Michael Jackson's Thriller or Madonna's controversial Like a Prayer? MTV shaped fashion, youth culture, and even politics with its Rock the Vote campaign. However, as the channel shifted to reality TV in the late 90s and the internet made music videos readily available, MTV's influence as a music channel declined. Before GPS and smartphones, paper maps were essential for any road trip. Reading and interpreting them was a valuable skill, often leading to family bonding over navigation. With the advent of GPS devices and smartphone navigation apps, paper maps have become less necessary. While still used in some situations, digital navigation has largely replaced them. We've gained convenience, but lost the adventure of possibly getting lost. Boom boxes were the opposite of the Walkman, designed to blast music loudly from integrated speakers. They were symbols of urban culture, often carried on shoulders despite their weight. Boom boxes were the soundtrack of breakdancing and block parties. As personal listening devices became popular and cities began banning loud music in public spaces, boom boxes declined. Today, Bluetooth speakers offer portability, but lack the nostalgic charm of a boom box. Shoulder pads were a defining feature of 1980s fashion, especially in women's clothing. They gave women a sharp, defined silhouette, seen as both powerful and feminine. Popularized by TV shows like Dynasty, shoulder pads were everywhere. As fashion trends shifted in